hid under the back porch of my abusive mother. While I was there, I found my deceased father. I was a master of hiding, but not for a good reason. However, one night, I chose to do something different. I could hear my mother's screams. She was furious and about to become violent. My father wasn't helping, only fueling the fire. I had abusive parents and we lived basically in the middle of nowhere on a farm. Based on that, I knew I needed to find a good place to hide. I had the idea a few days before when I realized that the lattice covering the lower half of the back porch had a hole. Not big enough for an adult probably, but a slim 6-year-old could fit without a problem. So wrapping myself in my blanket and taking my stuffed hippopotamus, I sneaked out the window and ran to the yard. In the middle of autumn, when it was 40 degrees and the temperature kept dropping steadily, I crawled under the porch, scratching my elbows and getting splinters in my palms, but I managed to fit in there. It was actually quite spacious compared to most of my hiding spots. I couldn't stand up completely, but I had enough room to stretch my limbs. Sure. I was also getting dirty. It had rained a few days before, so the mud was still a bit wet. I wrapped myself in my blanket as best as I could and curled up for the night, but soon, even with my blanket and hippo, my teeth were chattering so hard I could barely breathe. However, I didn't want to go back inside knowing that if my mother caught me, I was about to get the beating of my life. "Sweetheart, are you cold?" That voice wasn't my father's, hoarse from smoking and screaming. It was sweet like honey. I turned to see the vague silhouette of a man lying prone beside me. He wore a beautiful butterfly necklace and was as dirty as I was. I nodded without wondering how he had gotten down there without me noticing. The man moved closer and wrapped his arms around me, and suddenly I felt warm like I was sitting next to a campfire. I snuggled into his arms, not caring about the mud. After all, we were both dirty. "You've grown so much," the man said, examining my face. "How old are you now, Alex?" 6? How do I know this man again? I didn't think I knew him at 6, I thought. The man gasped. "You're so big already. I'm so happy." He sighed pleasantly and stroked my hair. "What's your name?" I asked. He smiled. I could hear it in his voice. "I'm Leo. What's your favorite thing to do?" I had to think for a second. "I like board games and coloring." Leo laughed.